What's up everyone? Football Manager Tactics here and welcome to my new series called Football Manager Moneyball. This series was inspired by a blog post that I read on the setpieces.com. An article where the author had decided to take the rules and thinking of Moneyball and apply it to Football Manager to see how he got on, and that really inspired me to kind of do my own thing as well. I'll leave a link in the description to the blog post that I was reading. I think there's 9 or 10 parts to it now, and it's actually pretty good. It's pretty interesting what some of the results throw up. Now, in terms of rules, Moneyball is pretty straightforward. I'm not sure if everyone here has seen the movie or not. If you haven't seen the movie, it's actually quite a good movie, but it's basically Moneyball is all about getting the most value for money that you can for your football club. So I'll go quickly through the rules here that were listed on the blog post, and we'll stick to them throughout this save here. So the number one most important rule is net wage spend is more important than net transfer spend. So what that basically means is that you really need to focus on what you're spending on in wages rather than transfers, and also it's probably more valuable to spend more wages on a player than on a transfer. But all in all, your wages are really going to affect the day-to-day running of the club. Number 2, don't needlessly splash out on new players or sell old ones when you take over a club. That's referred to as new manager syndrome, and I fully agree. Some people start playing Football Manager, myself included. I've done this so many times, where you take over a new club and you have a look at what players are available and you just get rid of everybody. And you don't need to do that, because that goes against the ethos of Moneyball. Is you have to make do with what you have, and you have to focus on where you need to strengthen the most. And that leads me on to my next point, which is don't buy players if you don't need to. Simple as. Develop a youth network and try to develop your own players, which is fairly straightforward. Number 4, don't buy players who impressed at international tournaments. They're likely to be overvalued, and past performance is no indication of future performance, especially when they're playing with a different team. So that's pretty straightforward as well. I've seen it so many times in real life where a tournament like the World Cup or the European Championships or something will be on, and there'll be a player there who absolutely stands out and is doing amazing things in the World Cup or whatever championship it is, and then they end up to be absolutely rubbish. I think probably the best example of that in most recent times is Joel Campbell, who plays for Arsenal. He had a very, very good World Cup, and I'm not sure they ended up sending him out on loan. I'm not sure where he went on loan, but I don't think he's really done anything since. And to be honest, if he actually was anyway a decent player, I'm sure Arsenal would have actually kept him and used him in their first team. But anyway. Number 5, some nationalities are overrated, like Holland, Brazil and England. That is very, very true. But as we're going to be playing with Burton, which you can see here, it's going to be very, very important to be signing English players to help bring the squad up through the leagues, because it will help with the overall mix of the squad. Number 6, sell your players at the right time, when they're around 30 years old, except for goalkeepers. Again, this is something that's true. Goalkeepers mostly hit their peak when they're in their 30s, but most players, once they reach 30, bar the rare exceptions, are starting to decline as players. Number 7, use the wisdom of crowds. Ask all your scouts and a director of football if you have one. Now, I won't be playing with a director of football, because I don't like that idea of playing with a director of football at all. I want to be able to control everything to do with the club. But it is very important to have that kind of crowd-sourced information from your scouts, that you're getting more than one opinion, because sometimes your own opinion of a player can be slightly skewed, or you might not pick up on certain things that the AI scouts in the game will be able to pick up and tell you. And the more scouts, obviously, you have, the better it is. Number 8. Buy players in their early 20s, which avoids the problems with not developing properly and means previous statistics have greater value. So yeah, all in all, it's all about buying players young, developing these players to become very good players, and then selling them on if necessary. Number 8, number 9. Centre forwards cost more than they should, which is very true. I'm not sure why that is, but that is the case. And number 10, which is going to be the most difficult one out of everything, and I know that for a fact. Sell any player if a club offers more than they are worth, and try to replace them before they are sold. So basically what that means is, if I have a very good player playing for my team who's performing outstanding and he's valued say at 1 million, and if a club was to come in and offer me 1.5 million for that player, well, I'd have to accept that offer because I'll be making 0.5 million profit on that player. Now, it's not as straightforward as that, but it is going to be very difficult, especially when I am developing new players and they start to play really well, and then someone comes in and makes an offer for them. I'm going to have to sell them because that is Moneyball. But the other important thing as well is to always make sure that there's a replacement ready to step up and take over a potential player leaving. So you always have to bear that in mind as well. So yeah, that's pretty much the rules of Moneyball. So as I mentioned already, I'm going to be taking over Burton because Burton represent an ideal challenge. I'm in League 2, and I think League 2 is already going to be challenging enough without, being, say, Portsmouth, who have like 18.75 million value. They have a very good stadium for this league, and they've good training facilities and reasonable enough youth facilities. I'm not going to be Portsmouth. I'm going to be Burton because they give a good balance. They don't have like an amazing amount of money, but they have, a good amount of money. There's no loan debt as well, which is something that I wanted to avoid. Stadium capacity is not the greatest, but we can get over that. I'm sure we'll be able to extend that once we start bringing success to Burton. This is the main thing that kind of really got me interested, is the fact that they have state-of-the-art training facilities. As some of you may know, Burton have access to, I think it's the English national team's training facilities, St. George's, but they're allowed to use that on a day-to-day basis, which is great for a League 2 team, like state-of-the-art training facilities. And then lastly, and importantly as well, they have average youth facilities, which is pretty much better than every other team in the league. So yeah, let's click Burton. I already have my profile set up, so I'm going to be a tactical and technical coach, while I give myself a high value for working with youngsters, because that's going to be important. Most of the players that I sign are going to be between the ages of 20 and I'd say 28 tops. And then this is my tactical side. Not the best, but I'm going to go on experience based on Burton. I'd already clicked this previous, so that's why they're not as good as they should be. A professional footballer at regional level, not at national level. So yeah, we'll confirm that and we'll start playing. So I will save this game later. What I want to do is I'm going to ignore all this for the moment. What I want to do first and foremost is have a look at the squad and see how we're doing. So I have the squad sorted by ability. So I can easily see which are my good players, which are my bad players, and which are my in between. Now the good thing with Burton is they have a lot of players that are 3-star and above, which that can't hurt at all. We've a lot of potential here. That's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There's 14 players there that are 3-star and above, which is perfect. So I'm going to build my tactics based around what I have here. Remember, going back to the rule of Moneyball, there's no point coming into a team and just getting rid of players left, right and centre. So that's something we're not going to do. So that being said, let's go and create a tactic. Now, the tactic that I had in mind was either... Where's it gone? So 4-2-3-1 wide to take advantage of the fact that we have quite a lot of wingers in this team. But also, I was thinking of something like... Let me see. So something like a 5-4-1 diamond, or where we go now? Yeah, so a 5-4-1 diamond, which means it takes advantage of the fact that we have 3 very, very capable centre halves already at the club, as well as, you know, there's a couple of others there as well that we can use as replacements. So it's very plausible to be using a 5-4-1 diamond, and we have also a centre half who can also play as a defensive midfielder, so that's important as well. So with that said, well, I'm going to focus on developing this tactic first, because this is more than likely going to be my main tactic. I'll use the 5-4-1 diamond when necessary, but for now I'll start with the 4-2-3-1 diamond. So first and foremost, our first goalkeeper is John McLaughlin. I might look to see if I can get someone a little bit better. 3 stars is not bad, but I'd rather have someone who might be better, considering our backup goalkeeper is 1.5 stars. So I'd rather have a very, very good goalkeeper and have a 3 stars backup, but we'll come back to that. My right defender will be this guy, Kelvin Maynard. First centre half is Phil Edwards, best player at the club apparently, so that's great. And then second defender is going to be a toss-up between either one of these 2 guys, Cancel Sheriff or Ian Sharps. We'll just go with this guy for now, just so we can develop the tactics, and then we'll build it around our players after that. Our first choice left back is actually injured for 3 months, which is a bit of a pain. So yeah, receiving specialist treatment for damaged knee cartilage, and he's expected to be out for 3 to 4 months, which is not ideal whatsoever, considering our backup left back is not the greatest. We'll throw him in there anyway for the time being. He's not even a natural left back. He is a left-sided centre half, which is not ideal. Now, so our first midfielder, our first centre mid, is someone that we have on loan. That's fine, we'll throw him in. He actually looks fairly good. And then the second is this guy, Robbie Weir. And then our right midfielder is Lucas Akins, our right winger. Our centre attacking midfielder is either going to be McGurk. No, actually I'm going to play this El Kayati guy, but I'm probably going to sign someone for the centre attacking midfield role anyway, because I don't feel like this guy is good enough. His stats they're okay, but I'd rather have someone a little bit better in that role. Then where's McGurk gone? So I'll have McGurk as a left winger, and then I'll have Stuart Bevan as my striker. So my priority right now is to sign a goalkeeper. I definitely need another striker, because we have this guy Jacob Blythe on loan, but to be honest, I'm probably going to get rid of him because I don't like him at all. I don't think he's a very good player. I don't know why we have him on loan. So I'm going to send him back to Leicester, where he came from, and I'm going to sign my own strikers. I have a couple in mind, but we only have Bevan really as our own, as he's pretty much our only striker. Like, Atkins can play as a striker, but I'd rather leave him as a winger. Also, I think McGurk can play as a striker. Yeah, he can play as a striker, but I'd rather have him on the left wing, and I'll use one of my new signings to play as cover. So I'll probably have, I'd ideally like to have 3 capable strikers at the club, with one being backup and one being a promising youth player, but we'll see how we get on with that. So that's pretty much the tactics. Now in terms of our finances, they're not very good. We've 208,000 as a balance. We're allowed 35% of our transfer revenue. We don't have a very good sponsorship deal. Salary wise, we're allowed to spend 35,327 per week on wages. We're already spending 33,000, so we're going to have to trim that down, because I will need wages to spend on new signings, which I would imagine the vast majority are going to be free, because I only have a transfer budget of 26k. So what I'll probably do is, if it's worth it, I'll probably just put all of that into the wage budget, and then just bump up the wage budget as much as I can, because I'm not going to bother making signings that actually cost any money. I'm really going to be looking to utilise the free transfer market. So it's day one. I'm not going to holiday this yet at all, but we have 7,760 players who are available on a free at the moment, and that's something that we're definitely going to take advantage of. Oh look, there's Fernando Morientes. I remember him. But yeah, staff wise, we're probably not the best staff wise. Let's see. So we have an under 18s manager, our assistant manager, David Oldfield. He's reasonably okay. I'd rather if he had some little better stats here. His coaching isn't the best either. He's good determination though. Our goalkeeping coach is 15 at goalkeeping. I'll see if I can replace him. I'd rather replace him, to be honest. Our fitness coach is 16, which is not bad, but I'd still like to see if I could get a better fitness coach in. Under 18s coach, I'll come back to him. That's great. Head physio. I'm definitely getting rid of this guy, considering he's on 550 quid a week and his physiotherapy skill is 8. He's definitely going. He's going to be the first person to go. And then our chief scout is absolutely woeful. 6 and 6 judging player ability and potential, so he's going to be going as well. So what I'm going to do now, guys, is I'm actually going to leave this episode here. This is just a quick introduction episode to kind of give you an idea of what this series is going to be all about. Get you looking at the squad, see what kind of squad we have, our tactics. What I'll do is I'll check out our fixtures actually. There we go, schedule. So our home friendlies, or our pre-season friendlies, we have Ilkeston, Macclesfield, Leek and Derby. So Derby are probably going to be our hardest friendly game. That's okay. And then we've Oxford away for our first game of the season in League 2. And then we have Barnsley in the Capital One Cup first round, Dagon Red, Exeter, Newport County, and then Mansfield. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to end the episode now. I'm going to play the game up until we get to up until the end of August, because that actually sets us up nicely. The transfer window will be ending by then, and I'll be able to show you my new signings and how we got on in our first few games. So expect, when I come back in the next episode, expect to see I'll show you the results of all these games, any particular highlights, any kind of outstanding performances and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to doing this series. I've played Football Manager for a long time. I've been a huge fan since the Championship Manager days. So I'm delighted to be able to start a new YouTube channel dedicated to Football Manager and Football Manager playthroughs, and I'm really excited for this Moneyball. I think it's going to be a great challenge, but I think it's really going to work as well if I'm able to do everything right and everything that I know I can do. So yeah, that's it guys. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.